Hey guys, welcome back. You know where we are. I'm Scott Matthews, Latrobe Valley Aircraft. We are building the magic little Sopwith Camel. Watch along, we'll see what we get up to. Alright guys, welcome back. So, we had a moment. Where I last left off, I fitted all the, or most of the oil lines. I've been down and picked up some more gear. I've also got another order in. So I get my gear if you're in the local area. These guys here, Independent Motorsports, do a really good job. Like to have a chat. They're interested in my project, which is helpful because they want to help me out. They're interested in the TBI, etc. Now, the issue I had, and lucky I kept my receipts. Usually I'm hopeless with receipts like most blokes. But I kept all my receipts. A separate order, this is from EFI or somewhere. Electronic fuel injection. Engine fuel injection or something. I got a fuel filter. And I wanted some, so the fuel lines are 5/16, oil lines are all 3/8. But bear with me. So I wanted to order two AN6 to 5/16, and the guy at Independent Motorsports said to me, "Oh, you want another two?" And then I clicked. I thought, hang on, I've got a box of 20 here of AN6 to 3/8 hose. See where I'm going with this? So I was a bit paranoid that a AN6 to 5/16 has infiltrated the system somewhere. But I've been over it this morning. There's no numbers on these, and a 1/16 of an inch, you know, they would pull off. They're just push locks. So originally I thought they were for, this was going to be a fuel valve, so I thought, oh, maybe I've put them on there or either end. So I've just pulled that apart this morning, done my vigilance, I guess, the good check, and then on my mud map here, originally that fuel valve that I've got was there, and I've marked that as 3/8 for a drain. So I'm sort of hoping, and it's the only way I can come to a decision, the fuel cock, when I was standing there for 3/8 hose, I would have ordered 3/8 barbs because that's where it was initially going to go. Now it's actually fitted to the oil system. And I was going to, change here to 5/16 at the filter, which has only just come in. I've since bought a 5/16 to quarter adapter. The issue, well, not the issue, but the fuel pump has 5/16 barbs and the mechanical fuel pump has 1/4 inch barbs, so I need to change from somewhere. So a bit long-winded, but I think I'm confident. Do I sound confident? Probably not. If a hose is going to blow off, hopefully it does it in the first 5 hours of ground runs. But before people jump on and comment, I'm 100% sure. I've got on and checked everything. I'm pretty vigilant with all this stuff. If I can, the collars spin, but if they jiggle, I'll pull it off and do it again. These ones here are just return lines, and this is what I had in the cupboard. But all the rest are push lock. Yeah. All right, spent a lot of time just making brackets. So I'm just making a bracket for my fuel tap. Obviously drilled through my thumb while I was doing it. I'm going to position a fuel tap just under the tank at the 12 o'clock position. Fuel shut off. So it'll come out of the sump, loop around or go away from us, back through the tap and then over and through the firewall here somewhere to the secondary pump, and then we'll go from there. So while I'm at it, I've made another one. I've come up with a better system with hose clamps and 2 Adele clamps. I'll be able to bolt the shut-off valve a bit more permanently, give it a bit more rigidity, if you like. Alright, so in the cockpit, just right of centre, I have my fuel shut-off. So, should be fairly obvious. Down is off. And where the flow goes, bang. So each day, I guess I'll just turn the fuel off, or if I have a fire or something, turn the fuel off. So we'll come out of the sump, hook around, and then through the firewall. Okay, a little bit of mucking around, but now I've got a platform for my oil shut-off valve, and it's lock wide open. All nice. We'll call the oil system basically complete. And what I can sort of see happening, this line here has just got to be cut to length. It just goes to atmosphere, but then it goes all over the bottom of the fuselage. So I'm thinking I'll put a catch can here, catch a bit of the oil, keep the aircraft relatively clean, then you can empty the can. If it overflows, it overflows. So that's that guy out of the way. Yeah, I've got everything in. I'll just start plumbing it now. What I'll basically do is zip tie things back like this, give it an engine run sometime in the future, once it's all wired up, and then once, you know, it's easy to get in there, fault find, check for leaks, and then we'll go for the pretty it up stage, I guess, or make it more, you know, you don't want just, I don't like just zip ties onto here, so we'll do nice Adele clamps and all that sort of thing. Speaking of Adele clamps, you go through quite a few. I've got every size known to man, hose clamps, and what I call an Adele clamp is that, P-clamp, Adele clamp, rubber clamp. All right, another day, a lot of procrastinating. There's sort of no neat way to do this. You try and, I think I said before, do it like a chessboard. Things loop around, and you sort of need a fuel pump that's got in and out at the same end would be good, like a dead end. Anyway, because eventually one has to do a double back or a U-turn. Trying to keep things short as I can. It may not look like it. The vent lines in my book don't really count. They're just a vent. So yeah, with the fuel line, and keep, you know, drips if it was to leak. I don't want it dripping on the alternator for argument's sake. I've got one more line. And I'm just going to run a car fuel filter, and we'll go here somewhere. I'm just working out how I'm going to actually clamp that. I could clamp it to the engine mount, but I sort of don't like doing that. I'll make its own its own mount to the firewall and up to the pump, and that should be the plumbing complete, I think. All right, rather than just strap it to the engine mount, which I'll sort of make that, you know, just, I don't like to drill holes in that in the engine mount, give that precedence. So I made these 2 little tapered brackets, and this was actually a leftover part when I attempted to do the cowl at the front, the cowl ring. That's why I sort of keep everything. It tends to come in handy. And the oil filter will go in there. A couple of little slots for the hose clamp. Beautiful. I might put a bit of rubber there to make myself feel good. Nice. Okay, instrument panel. I'm being very patient. I'm waiting for my AFR gauge, but this is basically needs to go in. Let's call it, guys. I think I've finished the plumbing. I'll stand there later with a coffee and just go through everything. I need to, this is where I find it a bit, I've got some fire sleeve. I think it's time for some fire sleeve. Building your second aircraft, you accumulate stuff that's sort of in the cupboard and not quite right. That's what I'm finding on this build. But if you've got it, use it if it works. So I've got some little fire sleeve stuff there, orange and black. I'm a Tigers fan, so I'm a yellow and black guy. I will start to put some on, namely the fuel line down here, and I'll put the fire sleeve on, then I can Adele clamp it and call that sort of 100% done. Areas of concern, like here, I don't want hoses rubbing. However, I think what I'll do is just zip tie everything back, give it a run, then it's easier to fix the leaks, and then, like I've said before, come back and make it pretty a bit later on. There's a few little things I can do today. I need to do some research on what I actually have to do to the engine. They do mention briefly getting a source bottle, disconnect some interconnects up here and pump some oil, at the 12 o'clock so it goes through all the orifices and back down. I do have access to a pre-oil machine. I haven't seen it yet. I assume you just disconnect maybe the main oil line and it'll pressurise the engine. It's probably going to be easy to overfill. You imagine if the engine sump is full, the engine's full, and you fill the tank up, then the oil's got nowhere to go, hence the vent to atmosphere. I need to hook up my coils. I haven't got a home to go to yet. Yeah, just a good tidy up. And I'm waiting on a filter for my TBI that's in there as well. Also the Bowden cables, forgot about that. I would like to redo my throttle, mixture and primer cables. And thinking ahead, I probably should just cut a lightning hole here so I can do the split pins or nuts and bolts. That's where we're at the moment. I'm going to have a tidy up and we'll move on to fire sleeves season. Alright, come for a bit of a quality control ride with me, gents. So, fuel is going to go in the fuel cap. I need to vent that and make a fuel gauge, like a cork with like a Piper Cub, because the fuel tank at the moment's not vented. My 1/4 MPT plugs are both in. I'm not using that fuel gauge. Down underneath, I'll tip fuel in, the fuel tank will fill up, the sump will fill up, my drain on the bottom here is closed. This will fill up, allow fuel into this line here, which will swing around to my fuel shut-off cock, which then goes down through the firewall. Whoops, this one. We come out of the firewall, it loops around. I need to use Adele clamps and fire sleeve, and comes in the back of the pump with the direction of flow facing me, out of the 12 volt secondary pump to this line here, up into my fuel filter with the direction of flow going vertical. From 5/16 hose we go down to a step down here to 1/4 inch to go to the EDP, engine driven pump. Comes out the bottom of the engine driven pump, this line around, and it's temporarily fitted to the TBI. That is the fuel system. Now the oils ain't oils. I fill up the oil tank to here. These are all vents, which all go, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vents. My inlet is down in there, which is here. So the oil would come out and be sitting here at my shut-off cock, which is, it's very important I leave that. That'll kill my engine if I leave it closed. So it's open. It's only for ground maintenance. I've lock wired it open. When I do close it, I'll drop a bit of red wool or a red flag or something down so it reminds me that the oil is off. The oil goes into the alternator side of the main pump. I believe then it comes out the other side of the pump around here. Comes out the other side of the pump, which is this line. Correction, it's the one behind it. It's this line here. Comes down around to the inlet side of my fuel filter block. Fuel gets regulated and filtered. This isn't done up yet, hence the blue tape. The excess pressure goes to this vent line, which goes up to one on the bulkhead. We'll call that number 1 vent. Pressurised oil comes from the filter. This is mainly for my benefit, guys. Out the bottom, around to the engine. Oil then must come out of the engine somewhere. I'll have to check on this, but I believe the oil then comes out of the engine into the sump, where it's this bottom one goes up to the top to that union there, which is your scavenge pump. Scavenges the oil, comes out the other side here and goes up to vent number 2. Also, if that sump, the other line, this one here, at the end of flying, goes to the scavenge pump, which will be flicked on and to empty, theoretically, the oil out of the engine, drain the engine. And that line, which is this one, goes up to vent number 3. While I'm here, vent number 4 is just going onto the floor at this stage. And then the top line is a barb up here, and it just purely goes back to the vent number 5 in the top of the tank. I guess so the engine doesn't over-pressurise or overfill with oil. This would fill up and go back. What else have I got? I need to hook up my coils and things like that, neaten everything up. I'll go through slowly and do that now. I'll fit some fire sleeves with what I've got over there, and then I know what to order. I do like to leave, I think I might just fit the one fire sleeve to this guy, then I can get a nice Adele clamp on that, and then I'll leave all the rest until post-engine runs. If you ever had a fuel leak or an oil leak with a fire sleeve on, it makes a bit of a mess because it does its job, I guess, and encapsulates it all. And I probably should whack some rivets in some of these holes where I decided to change my mind. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Pretty sure I've finished the plumbing. I may put fire sleeves on the oil hoses, well I probably will. After I run it, I'll give it a run and then I'll probably do all that. Now, where else am I up to? I need a dashboard, I need an instrument panel. I wired up the scavenge pump. Now, because of what it is, I just went with the cheeky earth to the chassis, if you like, for the car guys, only because that's just the scavenge pump after the fact. I've earthed it there. Power goes back up here to there. Toggle switch. I've had it running. I rigged up a simple little, this is my switch here, which goes to the solenoid. So if I put that on there, when the battery is connected, I get a circuit. And as I keep saying, guys, I'll neaten everything up later. I'm using my Avionics Avenue along there, just the tube. So I'll show you the fuel cock. So I've got a fuel cock in there as well. Moving along quite nicely. Coming up to school holidays, and that's family time, guys, family time. I imagine I'll have it ready to run by the end of next week. We'll see how we go. I fitted my fuel extension, got a note to self, put a vent in the cap and in some sort of float system. I need to pull off the exhaust, when the AFR arrives, get that put on. Bowden cables, when they come in, I think what I'll do back here with the throttle, why not, I'll just cut a lightning hole to match the inside, to match this guy. That'll make it easy for me. I've labelled this, but it is what it is, just simple labels. Looks a bit meh, but it'll do the job. I'll probably put clear sellotape over the top when they're all finished. And this cap will get maybe a Velcro strap or another zip tie. I've used zip ties everywhere. I went with the old, put the tube in between the tube, just to tie everything back. Fire sleeves are on the fuel system. I need to work on my air filter, and this is for my fuel pump, which will the earth on those ones, because that's sort of more aircraft related than just a ground servicing scavenge pump. I'll run all my earths back to a common spot on the post here on the buzz bar. Yeah. Now I'm just going to do up a list of tags that I need. I think I'll go to the trophy shop and get my little labels made up, and we'll go from there. I did have an incident where I thought I had this from the cruiser. It's just an on-off switch to isolate the battery, if you like. And I was just testing which was off and on, and for some reason I grabbed these two alligator clips, which were actually plugged into the 4S LiPo, and this was on, and it became my smoke system on switch. A bit worried about my battery, but anyway, I shorted that out. That's the only thing I short out on this adventure, and I'll be going well, I think. Alright, just stain up. This is the back side. Just stain the instrument panel. Quite enjoyable doing this, actually. Brings out the grain. Really nice. Tiny bit of stain, goes a long way. Get this painted today, hopefully, maybe 2 coats. Be right to rig it up tomorrow. Another order's just come in, another, what do we got, 50 nuts. The AN3s. And it's a total of 300 nuts I've used. And another, about 100 washers. The AN3 washers. So that's about 400, I think I've ordered 400 washers over the time and 300 nuts or something. Takes up a lot of hardware. I also ordered some cable bulkhead fittings to grab the Bowden cable as it goes through the firewall, and I got my new Bowden cable. So now we're back on the TBI, or the throttle body. So I'm just working on mixture, throttle, and I've got a primer, but also the TBI has to get in there. I've basically snookered myself. Probably need to take the oil filter block off to work on it properly, but you need to know where it is to run the cables, if that makes sense. There's a whole lot of, I haven't got an inner inside this one yet. This cable needs to move, but it also needs to, not flap around. So I'm going to put an oversized Adele clamp, I guess, because the cable will actually move with the throttle. It can get clamped. I've got these nice Firewall clamps here. The mixture control I've now got sort of hooked up this end. I sort of push it through and hope for the best at the other end. But then to cut it off, nice and neat, I need to disconnect this end so the inner disappears. I had the primer one basically on, however it's got to start at the instrument panel and come all the way down through and then just get cinched up on there. I'm drawing a bit of blood. So there's a whole lot of thinking going on. But for the throttle, I've just run the outer, and then the inner I'll make the outer go exactly where I want it to go, and then the inner will just follow along. That's the plan. The TBI is going to have to come out again, no doubt. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the air filter side of things. But I'll get these in, and we may have to start disconnecting at the TBI end, which is very clunky. It's almost as though you need the engine on hinges. Just disconnect this side, swing the engine out and work on the rear. Just for clearance. Alright, just wait for my panel to dry tomorrow. We'll do some fit out. I'm still massaging the mixture and throttle controls, but they're in and working. I just need to tidy up on the inside there. I'll probably put these on the same, these Adele clamps probably go on the same post. This one needs to go on top of the other one. Looking good. That'll be the throttles complete. I'm worried about getting the TBI out now if I need to. But I can take distributor caps and alternators off if I really get in trouble. I need to get the exhaust off and get that up to get a bung welded in that, although I might wait until I've run the aircraft, maybe. So how we go. Alright guys, so from the Sopwith Camel, hope you appreciate that video. I had fun making it. Enjoying the aircraft build. School holidays are coming up soon. It's probably going to get in the way of ground runs, so I might get it ready to run. I don't want to fill it up with fuel and oil and then go away for a couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens. Stay tuned and we'll have some fun. Thanks for watching.